My water system's leaking. Oh, and it's right next to my electrical unit. Okay, so if you haven't been following, with zero experience, I've been turning this old school bus into a cozy home where I can cook a nice dinner and sleep anywhere I want to drive to. After researching for about a month, I am now a certified plumber, and we can finally tackle the plumbing and sink for the kitchen. Having a source of running water will be such a game changer for me when I'm on the road. It'll mean I don't have to keep buying plastic gallon jugs all the time. Instead, I decided to go with a 25-gallon water tank that goes under the bed. Hopefully it'll last enough for a week of showering and doing dishes. And this pipe, hold on. This pipe prevents odor from leaking back out of the wastewater tank. And then I installed this remote-controlled ball valve on the wastewater tank so I can squirt other cars while driving down the freeway. Now to test if the water system works. Well, it does, but it's leaking, and that's terrible long-term for the bus. So I try to fix it, and it leaks. Try again, and it leaks, and again, and it leaks. And after a couple days and 5,000 leaks, finally, it works without leaking. Now I can use this extendo faucet to shower outside the window, and soon I'll install a shower curtain in the doorway so I can shower indoors and in peace. Today I'm making drawer faces for my tiny home bus with the help of a 3D printer. I bought some fancy drawer handles because the drawers kept shooting knives out whenever I was driving. These drawer handles are very unique because they latch and unlatch with one pull of the handle. This notch I cut will allow the drawer handle to sit flush and look better on the drawer face. Now I use a double-sided tape trick so I can temporarily mount and align the drawer faces perfectly before screwing it into place. Then using the playing card trick, I am able to evenly space the drawer faces. And then I bought a 3D printer for the drawer handle latch catch. Building a bus and living in a bus comes with an unusual set of financial responsibilities. Luckily, Bread Financial can help me manage these responsibilities and more. Bread Financial is a company you can trust. Its personalized products give customers more ways to shop, borrow, save, and can help you reach your goals by choosing a product that's right for you. By putting the customer in control of their unique financial journeys, Bread Financial can make life's aspirations more achievable, like creating a tiny home. Thank you to Bread Financial for sponsoring this episode of Bus Hub. Link in bio to check them out. Today we're going to be doing some carpentry for the bus I'm converting into a tiny home. First, I laser cut a perfect sinkhole template, then I wanted to test out my carpentry skills on a scrap piece of wood. That's good enough. Oh, and this super sketchy plunge cut could kick back and chop off my toes. And then we take out the sinkhole cutting board and, never mind. Pour the varnish on it to waterproof it, do another sketchy plunge cut, then I slotted in my electric stove. Perfect fit. I went with an electric stove because I have an obscene amount of batteries. And so I don't suffocate in my sleep due to a propane leak. Now time to test out our new stove. First we add organic non-GMO grass-fed vegan royalty-free Brotsworth, sweetened tomato puree, and freshly picked seasonal herbs. Bon appetit! One day, I was just going through Facebook Marketplace and I found an old short bus that was perfect for turning into a tiny home. I messaged the guy and bought it the next day. Then I got started on the 3D model of how I wanted the inside to look like. Next I got to work by gutting the whole bus, installing a new insulated floor, changing the door, and absolutely slapping a new doorknob on it. Now I wanted a remote door lock on it that would also function as a deadbolt. So I drilled through the wall and found this long bolt that I could modify into a deadbolt. The bolt and the remote car lock I found online, somehow I needed to connect them. So here's how. I put that hard rod in the hole, then I shaped the metal so they wouldn't come apart, and attached it to the inside of the wall. Attached some wires together. Now I have a deadbolt you can only unlock if you have the remote. I also installed the same thing on my driver's side door. Next episode I'll show you how I installed a fan and a skylight and how to do the Renegade. Just kidding about the Renegade. I pay $117 to fill up my gas tank. Most people who live out of a bus are not constantly on the move. Instead, we tend to stay in one general area for a while before moving on. And since you can't really fit a ton of groceries in a vehicle, you end up taking a lot of small trips to the grocery store in a bus that gets you only 8 miles per gallon. And a lot of times you don't want to lose your precious parking spot. So instead of using liquid dinosaur bones to fuel my bus, I'm gonna redirect the power of the sun into my Rad Power bikes. This is definitely an ad. I'm not even on the sun. I'm in my garage. Anyways, check out this cute vintage tow hitch I found at a yard sale for $10. I think it's gonna be so perfect for attaching my second Rad Runner Plus electric utility bike with 750 watts of power straight from the sun. Then I had to drill holes in the bottom of my bus, which is super fun. It's just like doing hip thrusts, but you're being showered with hot, sharp metal fragments the entire time. Overall, I'm so stoked to have these electric bikes. They're gonna make getting groceries and exploring different areas so much easier and more sustainable. Now if only I had someone to ride my extra foldable rad mini electric bike with me. I love cooking, so I really wanted to make an awesome spice rack for my bus. I 3D modeled it with space in the back for wine and olive oil. I specifically designed the width to fit exactly 2 Trader Joe's Everything But the Bagel seasonings side by side and 10 Everything But the Bagel seasonings lengthwise, for a total of 80 cubic Everything But the Bagel seasonings. Then I glued some thin guardrails so the spices wouldn't unalive themselves. And then After that, I carved out space for the drawer slides, which gave me an extra inch of space on the sides, which equals 420 cubic inches of space, or exactly 40 extra Everything But the Bagel seasonings. And then, it came out uneven. So after about 10,000 adjustments, it finally came out flush, and now...
Add a little bit of spice.
Just look how easy it is to access while I'm cooking. I'm really happy at how this came out because last episode I built a frame for the kitchen. This episode, gotta make this into drawers. First, we're gonna glue and staple the drawers together. The staples is what holds the wood in place and the glue is what will give it its strength. Now I need to add framing for the 3 drawers. This will be painted later on. Using this electronic angle finder to find the angle that all my drawer slides will be on will help because my bus is parked on a slant. I thought everything was going perfectly and that I was almost done until my drawers weren't closing properly because the whole kitchen was crooked. After crying myself to sleep and hours trying to fix it, I finally figured out that all I had to do was use a single piece of wood to pull the kitchen frame in the right direction, and all the drawers fit perfectly. Now we can put back the fridge, and then all I have to do is clean my room. Now we can kind of see what the kitchen is going to look like. Here's where I'm going to put my induction stove, the sink, and custom spice rack. Hit the follow button if you want to see all that installed next week. And if you're planning on building your own bus or van, join my IRL group chat for more in-depth content. So it's raining right now, and I'm not sure if I should have put ramen in my bus hole. Does ramen actually work though? Welcome to Bus Hub, where I turn this school bus into a portable house on wheels. This episode, we're going to make arguably the best LED cloud wall out there. First, I want to thank Shopkick for sponsoring this video. I actually used the gift cards that I got from using the app to buy the LED strips. Stay to the end because Shopkick also wants to give back to you. Secondly, I didn't really want a cloud wall with these LED lines going through, and I think the trick to getting rid of these distinct lines is to put a gap between the LED lights and the stuffing. In order for that to happen, we put the LED lights in the back and we created space with leftover painter's plastic and then glue the pillow guts on top of that. And just like that, we have a cloud wall. Also, Shopkick is giving away a free $5 to anyone who uses the code Daniel. I actually really like them because they allow you to save and make money while shopping, even if you don't buy anything, just by walking into stores or scanning products they list in-app. So if you like to save or make money and want a free $5, download Shopkick from the link in my bio and use the code Daniel for a limited time. Welcome to the show where we transform a school bus into a tiny mansion on wheels. This episode, we make infinite energy storage. This episode took over a month to complete after thinking it was just going to take 3 days. So, in order to store electricity collected from our sun harvesting crystals, we need batteries. To connect these batteries, we need some thick wires. Then we wire this magic box that doesn't let the solar power blow up the lithium batteries. Now we modify this copper bar to connect a kill switch to some fuses. And if you don't know, fuses protect wires from overloading, and getting the wrong fuse size could burn down the whole bus. Hopefully I don't get the wrong size fuse. Finally, after a month, half my electrical system works, and I can finally run 12-volt electronics on it, like this roof fan. Also, big thanks to Lion Energy for sending me these batteries. I'll have a discount link for these in my bio soon. And I'll be posting a longer YouTube video of the electrical, so subscribe if you want to see it.
me how to live. Fuck being good, I'm a bad bitch. I'm sick of motherfuckers trying to.
Welcome to Bus Hub, the show about turning a diesel-powered rust bucket into a tiny home. First, we need to peel off all the letters because this episode, we're gonna paint it. And we should probably do something about these bullet holes. So the goal is to use this putty that turns rock solid in 20 minutes when you put a chemical in it, and sand it so smooth you won't be able to tell when it's painted. Now, let's tape everything that's not getting painted, like this door handle, or this obscene amount of windows. Oh, and remember to go vote on or before November 3rd. It matters a lot. And speaking of voting, thank you for voting on my Instagram poll on which color I should paint the bus. Follow me on Instagram if you want to be in the Bus Hub Decisions Club. And here's some satisfying tape peels.
Here's Johnny.
Also, thank you guys so much for 2 million. And if you're new here, so yeah, this is a $550 carbon fiber selfie stick. It goes up to 35 feet, which makes it a pretty good selfie stick, but I mostly use it for spying on my neighbors and getting drone-like shots in places where drones aren't allowed. And here it is in action. Hi, welcome to Bus Hub, part 13. Last episode, I built an outdoor table, and I know I haven't posted in a while, but there's a good reason for that. It's because I got some packages, like this big Dometic fridge and 7 Lion Energy batteries, and I've been spending all of my time trying to use more than 10% of my tiny little brain to research how to build an electrical system to power the fridge, my dual monitor video editing station, my camera gear, and an electric stove. But I still need to do a little bit more research. So in the meantime, I got started on my bed. AKA the Dream Machine, AKA the Pillow Palace, AKA the horizontal dance floor. And I built the bed this high so there would be a lot of room for my water tanks, batteries, and more garage stuff. But now I can just roll out of bed and cook. That's it for now, but I'm going to be painting my bus and posting a TikTok of it next week. But if you want to see extra behind the scenes of that process, you can check out my Instagram stories for daily extras. With no construction skills, I started building this short bus into my full-time home on wheels. Learned how to use this 3D software to design the inside, then got to work by modifying the school bus doors to open like a house door. Wang-jangled this bolt to a remote locking system that I bought online for extra luxury and security. Next I installed a roof fan for indoor cooking ventilation. Then I built an opening skylight so I can get on the roof. I tore out the inside so I can insulate the bus better and change the interior to wood. And listen, since it's my first time doing a bus build out, it has taken me way longer to finish than I thought. To be honest, I thought I would be finished and on the road by now, but I still have so many more cool things to build, like a bed, kitchen, computer station, secret compartments, poop trebuchets, and more. And as you probably know, TikTok will no longer be on the App Store as of tomorrow. So follow me on Instagram and YouTube to continue seeing my progress. All while traveling and found the shorty on Facebook, slid into the DMs, took shorty home the next day. This is part 6.5 of how I'm turning the shorty into a tiny home. After doing a little dance and installing the fan and making a skylight from scratch, I then watered my bus and found out my windows were leaking. So I ripped them out, cleaned them, put them back in, and laid the caulk. Then I stuck kill mat everywhere to reduce the sound and dampen the vibrations. This is a before and after. Then I painted my nails and felt those curves. And remember, safety is sexy. Naturally, I had to look fresh with my thrift store rings. After I put up all the wood ceiling supports, I needed to fill some holes. And I used this trick I saw on TikTok. Now all you need to do is fill it with ramen and sand to perfection. I also put a doorknob and automatic lock on the back door. Also, I just made a YouTube channel because the world is our oyster and I want to show you my oyster. Thank you to all the people who have subscribed already. I will be posting this week talking about living as a travel photographer, rock climbing, and bus build part 7. This is part 7 of how I found a short bus on Facebook and I bought it the next day so I could begin turning it into a tiny home. After a quick celebration, I got started by 3D modeling the inside. Then I had to remove all the moldy insulation, put foam under the floor so it would keep my feet warm, and change the locking mechanisms on all my doors. Then replace the emergency exit with a homemade skylight. For hot and cold protection, I put foam board in my walls. and I squirted foam in the air gap so it wouldn't ruin my insulation properties. Slapped a wet barrier over it. My wood came with nails in it because I got it for free off of this ancient website that hasn't been updated since 1995. And I am so happy that I finally installed the walls because now it is looking more like a tiny home. This is a proof of concept, but this is going to be for privacy and light. Also, check out the new YouTube video I just posted if you want to see more about the backstory and the future of this bus, or if you want to see how I traveled the world for less than $300 a month. But nonetheless, thank you for all the love and support. 2, 1. Since I'm going to be living and working out of the schoolie full time, I ordered 2 solar panels for infinite energy. So instead of trying to make a solar firework, like this anonymous top comment says, by using my brand new solar panels to run electricity through a light bulb filament to ignite some magic powder that I got for Christmas from my dad as a teenager during my pyrotechnic phase to blow up a moldy old papaya that I forgot about. And when you harness the sun to set it off, you then realize that it was very anticlimactic and you just wasted hours of your life that you'll never get back on something so stupid. Yeah, but instead of doing that, I just mounted it to my roof. And let me tell you, nothing gets me going more than clean energy does. Welcome to Bus Hub, aka part 9 of how I bought a short bus on Facebook and I'm turning it into a tiny home to live on the road. Last episode, I installed some solar, aka infinite energy. This episode, I cut insulation to fit into the ceiling, and after that, I connected these wires together for the ceiling lights at each section of the bus. Then I wrapped it up to protect the roof from condensation and other wetness. Next, I found some knotty pine to slap on the ceiling. Now, putting up the ceiling was kind of challenging to do by myself. And if you're anything like me, and you're having trouble getting your wood up, try the classic prop it up with a stick and staple it 1,000 times trick. And to finish up the wood ceiling, I needed to trim the edges of the skylight with a router, but I ended up just receiving a sawdust bukkake. Anyways, thank you all so much for following along, and if you want to support my journey, you can join my Patreon, link in bio. During quarantine, I got the school bus from Facebook to convert into a tiny home on wheels, part 10. Last episode, I put insulation, a vapor barrier, and the wood ceiling up. Now I'm finishing up the ceiling and putting this plastic around the fan so it doesn't look like a splintery mess. Bam, easy, moving on. Now to install all the LEDs that everybody requested. Now here's what not to do. Don't spend a bunch of time trying to make a perfect circle for your perfect router jig only to find out you mismeasured and now you have an ugly, gaping hole. Instead of that, just use your drill bit that was lying around. Now all you have to do is solder them up and shove them in the hole. So anyways, as you guys know, Trump could ban TikTok in less than 45 days. So I decided I will be posting in-depth bus conversion videos on YouTube. So if you like my videos or want to see what the finished bus will look like when it's done, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out. Part 11 of how I'm turning this short bus into a tiny home so I can live on the road and never pay rent. This episode, I'm building upper cabinets to maximize space in this small area. I used a thin sheet of plywood to reduce weight, and all of the ugly bus wires are going to be hidden by it. And since I'm doing this all by my lonesome, I'm recruiting pieces of wood to hold up other pieces of wood so I can screw them into the frame of the bus. Also, not pictured here is all the hours it took to try to make everything not crooked. Oh, and 2 reasons why I glued every part of the upper cabinets is because it makes it really strong and it's really fun to pop glue pimples. A lot of you saw the behind the scenes of this episode on my Instagram stories, so follow on Insta if you don't want to miss out on extra daily updates on what I'm working on. Now I have all the space for my clothes, and if I ever find somebody.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
I'm turning this used child delivery vehicle into an adult nest on wheels part 12. After modifying the inside a bit, let's build an outdoor folding table. I used this thing that I bought on TikTok to match the curve of the bus so I can have a flat surface to put the hinge on. And to keep the table folded while driving, we have to modify these free latches that I found on Craigslist. Then I drilled some deep notches for the latch, but not as deep as the dentist drilled me last week. After that, I drilled a hole in a piece of wood so I can chop bolts easier. These bolts are used to attach the cable from the bus to the table. Here's me at the store using their cable tools. Oops. Now we just give it the old yeehaw. Now my foldable outdoor table is strong and secure, and I can use it for cooking, having an existential crisis, and filming high-speed chases. And since TikTok still might get banned in 5 days, follow me on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and updates. Part 6 of how I took a short bus off Facebook and I'm turning it into a tiny home on wheels. Last time I showed you how I installed a remote deadbolt, and yes, if the battery dies, I will be stuck inside forever. Moving on. After cutting a hole in the ceiling, I put some sticky stuff on the frame so I can install my Maxxair 5100 Deluxe 10-speed manual intake and exhaust. Then I removed the leaky emergency exit, built a wooden frame, don't paint like this, laid the caulk. To hold the clear sheet of Lexan, I used screws with rubber gaskets, carefully put on a rubber, and slapped some hinges on those bad boys. Now put it where the emergency exit was. Now this is me reinforcing the skylight so I can use it to work out. Next episodes, I'll be erecting walls, making a kitchen, ejector seats, poop chutes, etc. This is me working out on it, and this is me almost dying.
So if you record your phone and you're moving towards something and you zoom out at the same time, you get this cool effect called the vertigo effect. Check it out.
Welcome to part 2 of turning a school bus into a tiny home. Since I wanted to upcycle as much as possible, I took free pallet wood and ripped it apart. This will be my foundation. And you know what they say about foundation, right? Yeah, I have no clue. Anyways, I attached the pallet wood to the metal of the bus for a solid foundation. Next we have fit check. We got the chucks, the mustache. After feeling fine as hell, I got to work on the insulation. I used foam in between the foundation so that my toes would stay warm in the winter. The floor would retain coolness in the summer. Filling the small gaps was the most satisfying part, of course. Here's a little victory hopscotch for y'all, and then back to cutting more wood. I used pretty thick plywood. The only reason I did that was to have huge dance parties. And after cutting and recutting and recutting, everything finally fit like a glove. So if you want to see how my house comes along, like and follow for
You're the only friend I need. We share beds like little kids. And laugh until our ribs get tough. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar. Watermelon sugar.
Welcome to the show where I turn a school bus into a tiny home with a kitchen and bed, while showing off my super sweet dance moves part 3. After gutting the interior and putting in a new floor, it was time to modify the door and make it one solid piece with a doorknob. I removed the door so I could connect them with random scrap metal that I took out of the bus. 36 screwings later and I was ready to put back the 100-pound door, with help from the fam. The next day I needed to put a doorknob in. Drilling through metal took me hours, but a man needs a doorknob. After I filled those holes with knobs, I screwed them in very good. And it works. I can now lock my doors. Like and follow for more updates where I put a kitchen, secret compartments, and make it livable. One day, I was just going through Facebook Marketplace and I found an old short bus that was perfect for turning into a tiny home. I messaged the guy and bought it the next day. Then I got started on the 3D model of how I wanted the inside to look like. Next, I got to work by gutting the whole bus, installing a new insulated floor, changing the door, and absolutely slapping a new doorknob on it. Now I wanted a remote door lock on it that would also function as a deadbolt. So I drilled through the wall and found this long bolt that I could modify into a deadbolt. The bolt and the remote car lock I found online, somehow I needed to connect them. So here's how. I put that hard rod in the hole, then I shaped the metal so they wouldn't come apart, and attached it to the inside of the wall. Attached some wires together. Now I have a deadbolt you can only unlock if you have the remote. I also installed the same thing on my driver's side door. Next episode, I'll show you how I installed a fan and a skylight and how to do the Renegade. Just kidding about the Renegade.
Spending my nights alone, waiting for you.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. By thoughts, I mean specifically
Bro, now it's in the ice station. Why is it by all my bags? Where did it go? Did you touch it? Bro, now it's under my bag.
Ayo, something traumatic happened that changed my life. Check.
Shh, dude, no. You gotta go like, hey. Oh, okay. Wait. My words float on the sound.
I bought an old bus to turn into a tiny home during quarantine. First, I had to shave my head to look sexy. Next, I had to remove all the seats from the bus. I had to remove all the bolts and some I needed to chop. Bye! Rise and grind, baby. Bye! Bye! After a victory handstand, I needed to remove all the rivets. This is so I can gut the whole bus and take out all the crappy insulation that is fiberglass and may contain mold. Like and follow for part 2 of my tiny home conversion series.
When we run down this rain, right wrist and left wrist, that's rain. She said, walk on, what's going on? Why am I wet? Gal, that's rain. Call when we run down this rain, right wrist and left wrist, that's rain. She said, walk on, what's going on? Why am I?
Hey, this is how the RC motherfuckers be taking pictures look.
Backflip, 3, 2, 1.
Fast, 400 on the dash, 55 bills, but
the world is ending, you come over, right? You come over and let's go.
I say that I'm through, but this song is still for you. Now all I want is love that lasts. Is all I want, too much to ask. Is it something
for me, so she just fuck my friends. I can't get pulled over on the road cause I got contraband. My whip be creeping on the 10, I'm feeling weird again. They say Cody grow up, I say bitch I'm going Peter Pan. Bank account look like some Cheerios. Yum. You can't see us cause we flying.
I ain't tryna. Yeah, ain't tryna be cool like you. Wobbling around in your high heel shoes, I'm clumsy. Made friends with the floor. 2 for 1, you know a bitch by 4. And 2 left feet, you know I always drop. First thing a girl did was a bop. And the whole damn cake and the cherry on top. Shook up the bottom, made a good girl pop. You ain't even here to party. Can in the club. No, I can't. Yeah, ain't tryna be cool like you. Wobbling around in your high heel shoes, I'm clumsy. Made friends with the floor. 2 for 1, you know a bitch by 4. And 2 left feet, you know I always drop. First thing a girl did was a bop. And the whole damn cake and the cherry on top. Shook up the bottom, made a good girl pop. You ain't even here to party. Can in the club. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'ma shine like glass. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss, I'ma shine like glass. I'm a bitch, I'm a boss. I'm a bitch and a boss.